the gentlemen I have in studio today were actually given female names, and they were decided to be female. So many years later, they have rediscovered themselves and have male names. Be sure to catch up with this conversation, Edward. Well, good evening to you, and thanks for joining us. First of all, I want to begin with an apology. We've been away for like about 3 weeks, and we took a very unprecedented break because of obviously issues that were beyond our control, and we didn't alert you when we were going. So our big apologies, but we are back, and back with a bang, of course, to continue with this conversation. You can interact with us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1, at Kioria. The hashtag is Family Matters. On Facebook at KBC Channel 1. You can also talk to me directly at John Jacob Kioria. And you're also looking at our SMS line 22162. We are talking about the plight of people, or rather the plight of the intersex. And of course, in studio, I have quite an interesting panel that I'm going to introduce to you. But of course, you can continue engaging us on our SMS line, like I said, as well as on Twitter. Now, next to me is Ryan, and obviously the story of Ryan is a story you have interacted with before, but never told, like you'll hear it today. Because when Ryan was born, he was named Ruth Wangui, but he has since turned into Ryan. James Karanja was born Mary Waidera, but now James Karanja. Thank you very much for joining us, you people. And it's quite a huge conversation we're going to have here, and quite a sensitive one. But let me begin with you in terms of intersex and transgender, because it's a conversation that Kenyans get confused a lot when we talk about these things. Yeah. But you're intersex, not transgender. Yeah. What is the difference?
I think intersex is it's the synonym of the word hermaphrodite. And a transgender is a person who is born either male or female, but feels that they are not congruent with their body, their brains. So maybe they are born male, but they want to identify as women. Intersex persons is what used to be known as hermaphrodite. It is only that the word is more derogatory, and people or the intersex persons feel that they need a word that they feel it's a political correct.
Yeah. It's political correctness.
Yeah.
All right. Let's begin this conversation with you, Ryan, in terms of your personal story. When were you born?
I was born like 28 years ago, although I don't know the specific day or the specific month.
Why?
Because I hate the day that I was born.
Oh, you hate the day?
I hate the day I was born, but I'm sure it is about 28 years ago. When I was born, my mom and her midwife was unable to tell whether I was a boy or a girl. With the benefit of doubt, my mom decided maybe to take me and name me as a girl. Well, my biological father abandoned and said that he was not capable of raising and taking of such kind of a child. There is those beliefs like when you are born, and it is like a curse, abandonment, such kind of. So he was not comfortable with me being born an intersex. But my mom decided to.
So immediately you were born, your father abandoned?
Yeah, they knew there was a problem, but. They never knew what it was, but the doctor mentioned like you have a baby, but the baby is not clearly a boy or a girl because of the ambiguity. But I think what they look like, they saw like more a girl more than a boy. When a child is born, we just check between the legs. So when it does not reflect clearly a boy, so you assume it's a girl. And that's how my mom did. They assumed like I was a girl. And
named you Ruth Wangui.
Ruth Wangui, after my beloved. Oh, actually, Wangui is the surname. I was named Ruth Muihaki Wangui.
So Wangui is your mother?
Wangui is my mother. Okay. So I was named Ruth Muihaki after her beloved mother. And that's how my journey of being a girl started, When choosing of a gender, it's not someone's choice. Yeah. You are given after birth. So I was given that gender, and I was named that way, and my journey started that way. But I knew I was not when I was very young. I was only 5 years old.
Hold that thought. So that now we can get to the point where you start seeing there's what you would call a contradiction in terms of how you're named and how you're feeling.
Yeah.
But let me come to you, James.
Yeah.
When were you born, and how did this happen?
I was born in 1991. I was born at home, and I have an interesting story because when I was born, my grandmother, the first place she went was to a church priest because she couldn't tell. So the church priest advised my grandmother to take me to hospital. And that was now in Naivasha District Hospital. Okay. And they decided, with the benefit of doubt also, that best guess they would give was to assign me a woman role. So they decided I should become waiter, and they gave the issue of, you know, the psychological advantage if they brought me as a female. So it was always a challenge because my mother's marriage broke because my father could not, you know, she believed that my mother came and gave birth to a child who is a curse.
What?
Yes.
That's how your mother's marriage broke?
Yeah.
And that's how you have grown up until when?
Till I was in Form 3. That is when I realized that I was assigned the wrong sex. And I remember when I was in Form 4, I went to a girls' boarding school, and luckily I was the assistant head girl. Then I became the head girl. And but when I was in Form 4, second term, I was sent away from school because teacher's daughter was trying to
Can I cut you short? Because we have time and we can listen to the story.
Yeah.
So you named Mary Waithera.
Yes.
How was it going through primary school? Like you're saying, you were a head girl in, you know, in boarding primary school.
Yeah.
There was nothing that made you question your gender or anything like that?
I think one of the things is that, like, when girls were getting cramps and menstruation, I was different. Unless maybe I eat a lot of beans, then I have a stomach upset and try to think maybe I am experiencing menses also. But to be honest, I never knew who I was. I wouldn't tell you whether I was a girl at that time or either a boy. I was just floating.
People around you, when they looked at you, were they raising questions? And I'm talking about primary level, not secondary just yet. In primary school level, maybe your teachers or your peers, was there anything different they were seeing in you? I
think I was in class 8, and my math teacher was called Mr. Karaoke. One day he found me, you know, jumping in class, and he said, like, in Kikuyu, where kahigaka, like, you boy. He just called me you boy. Yeah. So I think they used to see, but maybe I didn't know what it was.
At least they were speaking behind your back. Yeah. All right, we'll get to the story of rediscovery now in secondary school, but let me come back to Ryan. Ryan, in class 5, that's when you discover you're different?
When I was 5 years old.
5 years old?
Yeah.
What happened?
Now, after my biological father abandoned us, so I was brought up in my grandmother's compound, whereby I was together with my aunties and my uncles. So they were just talking about me, so they were just like mentioning some things. I'm born abnormal, I have some abnormality, but by the time I didn't know what they were talking about, you know, I was very young, and by the time it was even something new for me to know the difference between a boy and a girl. But something was telling me that I'm not normal, I have a problem. But I was unable to tell what problem it was until when I was asleep, but I was not that deep asleep. My mom was discussing with her parent about me.
That's your grandmother?
Yeah, my grandmother now, and my grandfather. So they were talking. And my mom was crying. So to me, I knew like what they were talking, it was not good. It was something that was paining. And by the time my mother was pregnant of my brother, my younger brother, so people was talking and accusing her like she's going to give birth of like abnormal child, like the way I am. So they were like accusing her. So my mom was crying a lot. So I knew whatever they were saying, it was not right. So they were discussing something. So to me, I knew like now it's me they have been talking about. But again, I did not get the clear picture. A few months later, now I was like in lower classes. I was with my aunt, who we are almost an age, and we had an argument as children, and she shouted that I'm not a girl, I'm a boy, I have a penis and such kind, and all the other children undressed me and started laughing at me.
In front of people?
In front of children. We were about a group of children now, we were praying. So they undressed me, and now that's the time I realized like I'm different with them. I have a different body.
So it was out of humiliation that you realized you were different?
Yeah, sure. Now, I wasn't even unable to tell anyone what happened. I remember I cried and cried, but I was like, I don't want to express this to mom or someone else. But now my question was, why did my mom decide to take me as a girl, of which I'm not? Even other children can tell that I'm not, because they are saying, right, it's true, I'm a boy, I have some boy's organ. But I thought like, maybe I'm not normal. That's how they have been claiming. I'm abnormal. And you know, children does not know how to keep secret. So in school, they were all like, I'm not a girl. I even grew up a habit of dropping from classes, because when I get to class, they could start laughing at me, saying like, oh, let us see, you have a penis, let us see. When I go to fall a toilet, they are like following me. They just want to say what that other children are talking about. Now I started dropping from my classes, but my parent and my uncle started punishing me, like I don't want to go to school, I don't want to attend to class. But they were punishing me, even taking me to police station, like I'm becoming naughty. Until I realized like now I'm going through much problem, because
and that is what I want us to talk about in a bit. What are you going through psychologically, you know, when you're being public? It's like, you know, a humiliation parade in class, and you also have people from your end, or your parents as well as your uncles, who don't even understand your struggles. How is it like for you psychologically this time?
For me, I can say like what I even used to hate myself, because I thought like, it's true, I'm not normal, because I don't have any praise, you know, not at home and not at school. So at some point I was thinking it's only like I don't have a father to defend me, you see. So I was asking myself, why don't I have a father? Maybe if only I have a father could defend me to this point, and maybe explain to them like I'm a normal child, they don't have to treat me this way. And I wanted also to talk to my mom, so that to see whether she can understand. But I realized that she was more stressed than I was. And I never wanted to stress her more. So it was like, I have to hold this for myself. And I also had something they were like saying, the doctor mentioned something that I can't grow between maybe up to 15 years. When the hormones started, it will start to respond to my body, I'll die before 15. So it was like, I don't have to worry, because I'm dying soon, you know. So it was like, I'm just staying for a few years, I'll die soon. That was like...
So at that point, to the age of 15, you were just tiptoeing, nothing much happening in your life.
You know, I can say my life was full of complications, I can say, because I was like, I was so much interested with boys' games, you know, but I never had a chance to pray. Again, at home, I was like, everything I was doing, it was that boyish, not girls. But no one in my family who was understanding me, so they were punishing me like, there is this Kikuyu word, wajakehe, because I'm always interested of making cars, wire cars, making balls and playing football. But they were beating me up, like I'm pretending I'm a boy and I'm not. So that I was like, I never wanted to disclose or tell them what I'm going through. So my life was just being all alone. I don't want to associate with anyone at home. And again, what affected me is like, I became very naughty. I can tell I became very naughty. I became very rude, very arrogant. Like, even if you want to talk to me in peace, I could just talk badly, harass you. Like, I became that naughty. So like, no one loves me. So I don't care So I became naughty.
This was you becoming rebellious because you don't feel loved.
Yeah, and again, I want to defend myself. So I thought that was the only way to defend myself.
All right, hold it there. James?
Yeah.
In Form 3 is when you discover that you're different?
Yeah.
What happened?
Basically, I was in class and just talking to my friends. Then a teacher comes in, peeps through the window. And the first question is, who is that? And we looked at him and he said, that person who is talking has a deep voice. That when I realized something somewhere is amiss. And now, being the deputy head girl that time, I had all quote unquote the resources, and the resources were the students.
And that's a secondary school?
Yes. So they would protect me in one way or another, until now when I went to Form 4, and they started sending me love letters. They used to send me a lot of love letters. And one day, my business class teacher found out the letters, and the school decided to send me away. And that was the first time I went to a clinic, because I wanted the doctors to tell me what was wrong with me, because I had looked at myself, because you know, girls are in school and they are bathing outside, and I used to realize there's something amiss. So with that, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. to take shower, so that they could not see I am a bit different from them. And so when I don't know what came over, the school called me back, and that is when I told the teacher who I am, and they gave me two options: to either complete school and become somebody, or drop out of school with my condition and become a useless person. So I took the option of completing high school. Yeah.
When they were suspending you the first time,
yeah.
What was the reason? What did they tell you was the reason?
The school foundation is Christianity. It is a Christian school, so they thought I was trying to instigate lesbianism, because the kind of letters I was receiving, they were love letters. So they decided to, send me away.
So they were chasing you away on the pretext of lesbianism?
Yeah.
Then the second time, after seeing your letter from the clinic, they realized you're a different person?
Actually, I did not provide a letter. I just told them, this is who I am.
All right.
And then there were these rumors now and then from the student, James has has 2 organs or something of that sort.
How did you deal with that in the first place? Because now you've realized you're different, and there's a medical confirmation that you're different, and there's now teachers looking at you from a different, lens. How did you handle it yourself?
I think the very good thing was that I just told one teacher. So it's not every teacher knew.
Okay.
It was just my business teacher, who was also my class teacher. She was the only one who knew that I was an intersex person. So that is why she advised me on, continuing with the school.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the issue of that every student loved me overshadowed the issue of, who I am.
Yeah.
And that kept me pushing on.
Are there your colleagues in the school, other than the suspicions? Because there's suspicions and then there's confirmation. Are there people who confirmed that you were different? And I'm talking about fellow students.
No one ever knew.
Nobody ever knew?
Nobody ever knew. Because I used to wake up at 3 a.m. No one ever used to wake up at that time. I take shower, go to class, and maybe when I'm coming back is that I'm coming to inspect the dormitories, being the head, whether they are clean, whether the dining hall is clean. So nobody ever knew or ever saw Waithera taking a shower. That now was the problem. Why?
You don't?
I do not take shower with them.
What do they tell you nowadays?
I think they're my best friends, and they feel for me. Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to you in a bit. So you're saying till the age of 15, you just tiptoeing, becoming arrogant, and feeling completely unloved, which makes you rebellious. So you are at 15, the doctors had predicted you will die, but you're not dead.
Yeah. I can remember things started now turning a loud clearly when I was in class 6. That's where the secondary characteristics started appearing, like I'm looking masculine than becoming garish. So my fellow students started saying now it was true what people have been saying, as long as you are not a girl, you have both organs, you are a boy, and this and this. But I was like assuming, to me I was assuming maybe one day I look and find like I'm a girl, like how I was brought up. Because to me, I thought like I'm having a problem in my brain. It's like I'm seeing my own things that are not existing, because I never thought like my mom and my grandmother and everyone could just do a big mistake of taking me as a girl, of which I'm not. So I was like, on the other hand, I was thinking is like maybe my brain has a problem. I'm seeing some things that does not exist, or they are just like I was seeing like I'm dreaming. It's not a reality. But now my voice started breaking, and people started like realizing, Ruth, ideas, I can realize that you have bias coming. So I was like, what do I do? When I get to class 7, that's when I decided to visit a doctor. Maybe can advise me further what's the problem. And I went to a certain hospital where I can say the doctor that was there was more confused more than I was, because the doctor, maybe what I can try to think, maybe doctor thought like maybe my hormones are not responding, because he just asked me, have you ever seen men? Says no, your breast is not growing, your hip. So like the doctor thought like, is my hormone is not responding, and suggest maybe I can take hormone pill that will help me or help my body to develop as a girl. And I started taking the pills. That's when my voice became normal now as feminine. I started realizing like my breast is growing, and now even people became confused, like we are saying like you are not a girl, but now we can see like
started transforming.
Transforming. So to me it was like covering up. To me at some point I feel like it's normal now, but I had so many, like I was thinking, I knew what I was doing, it was not right to me, you know. I was saying at some point, what I'm doing, it's not right to me, because I'm trying to introduce someone I'm not. But I didn't have any choice. I was to take the pills. But I started now having problem in my body, having headaches daily, having like, I started like becoming ill like now and then. And I realized maybe it's the pill like I have been taking, they are affecting me. They have so many side effects to that. And I dropped it. And now, by the time I was in class 8, and in that class 8, a group of people realized like I'm different, and they organized something, and they wanted to undress me and see whether I'm a girl or not. But I escaped.
Again?
Yep. But that time I escaped. But I decided now I have to kill myself, because I can't start this humiliation. And I remember it was about 2 a.m. Well, everyone was asleep. I just took a loop. They went to a tree. It was on our home compound. And I hanged myself, but I don't know what happened. Like, I was sure everyone was asleep, so no one would realize what I was doing. But I was not that big. I think I was a small girl by that time. And I was sure, like, I'll die. But the loop just cut off, and I fell down. I was like, now everyone had just knew, like, there is something happening outside there. So I just pretended like I was just out for a short call. When my uncle heard that there is something happening outside there, so I just pretended I was out there for a short call, and I assumed like nothing had happened. And that's how I survived that time. Now I thought of not getting back to class, because maybe the fellow students were like eagerly asking, "Oh, I really don't want to talk to people," because I was like, I was not talking to anyone. I only had one friend, but we never got to a point of discussing this. I was always assuming or pretending I was not a girl, although I knew I was not. So I was not comfortable talking to girls as much. You know, there is those topic for girls, but I can't feel they were like asking, do you go through menstruations? Do you go this? But to me, I was like, I never wanted those discussions because I knew at some point they will realize I'm different. So I used to stay all alone without friends, without interacting with people, until I stayed like 2 weeks without going to class. And my mom was like, why are you not going to school? I was like, assuming I don't want to go to school again. But because they believed that I was naughty, so they were saying, now, what can we do to you? What's your problem? So that you can reform. Because my mom was crying, like, maybe my mom was trying to tell me, like, what I'm doing, I'm stressing her. Because I'm becoming naughty, and now I'm a big girl that I can take care of myself. And because I loved my mom so much, so I never wanted to stress her more, because at some point I was like saying, I can go to a point of losing my mom, and I'm not able to take care of my sibling, so I better die and give mom peace of mind with my sibling or my brother and my sister, because I'm first of three.
This is another time you're contemplating suicide.
Yeah. I remember I bought a bottle of chemical, and after taking the chemical, my mom, or my aunt, had of the smell of a chemical, what's happening, but I told them, like, I am having a headache. But they realized that I have done something that's not right, so they forced me to take milk and to do some stuffs and like first aid, and again I survived that. And my mom tried to talk to me, but she was so stressed. She never wanted to explain to me what's happening, but she was like trying to show me some love, like, I love me, just get back to school, you know, it's all my hopes are up to you. I know this and this type. So I was like, I have to do this for my mom. Again, I went back to school, and I did my KCPE. After like staying more than 2 months
away from school,
I did my KCPE. But now the problem was attending the secondary school, because that's the stage that I wanted to change. But now I don't know where to start and what to do. I remember I tried to talk to my uncle, saying like, now, because they have done KCP, maybe, you know, in a Kikuyu, we believe after class 8, that's when the boys go for circumcision and such kind. So I want to talk to my uncle, maybe they can organize for me to change. But my uncle was also assuming like they don't know. Like, you know, I never had that courage to say it openly, but I was like, now, you know, I've done class 8, maybe I want to go through circumcision. But he was like, no, you know, you are a girl. As a girl, you don't have to go to this. But I was like, no, I want to do it. I wanted them to open up and tell me what's happening, but no one was willing to share the information to me.
Hold it a bit. James,
yes.
So you have gone through secondary school,
and
you have done your KCSE. Then what next?
I thought life would be easier after I completed high school. Actually, that was the last day that I ever wore a skirt. I thought life would be easier. Only to when I got out, I realized that the larger family, never wanted anything, you know, about me, and they discriminated me, they rejected, and so it was me and my mom alone. Now the problem was that my mom could not handle the issue that James Waidera is becoming.
Let's roll back a bit. Your family is rejecting you, and parading you for humiliation. What kind of rejection are you talking about?
I think when you have everybody and they are giving examples of, you know, your friends, they are using directs to tell your friends who you are. Like, you have an uncle telling your friends, do you know a hyena is a hermaphrodite? You see, that's a kind of direct trying to tell you that the person next, who you regard as your friend, is not as normal as you would like or you tend to think. You see, these are the kind of persons who are like, we really don't care whether you have education or not. Actually, in high school, I was educated myself. Yeah. So I used to go and look for scholarships. So like nobody from my family ever did anything.
Nobody ever bothered?
Not really. So I did all that.
And after all the struggle, you're done with secondary school,
Yeah.
and you have the family now upscaling their hatred and rejection for you.
Yeah.
And you're saying your mother couldn't handle it.
Yeah, my mother could not handle the issue of that. You know, she expected me to be a woman, or now a girl. Now I'm, you know, moving to the other class. I'm now a lady. So she was maybe expecting me to grow breasts and everything. She couldn't handle me during my adolescence, and so due to pressure from the family that you gave birth to a curse, then she went to depression and eventually to an acute depression until she got mentally challenged. So when I completed high school, I thought life would be easier for me and her, but that was
your
not
mother
the thing.
Has mental disabilities.
Yeah, because of giving birth to an intersex child. Yes. So I thought life would be easier. But the place I went, then everybody in the community used to call me the abnormal child. Because I don't know why. They used to call me an abnormal child. And they knew I would do nothing about that. And nobody would even employ me. So most of the time, my mother would go and correct things from the dustbin. That is what we used to eat. Till now she got raped and gave birth to a child. But for me, I appreciated her for that, because I wanted maybe my family members could realize that it's not that my mother is cursed, because she has given birth to a normal baby girl, not like the other way there. And so I decided to take the child to children's home because I could not be able to.
Your mother couldn't raise her.
Yeah, we couldn't be able to raise her. So I stayed for 6 years before joining university, and the bitterness I had was people who would give me, you know, jobs. They would always think I am a person who would bring bad omen to their job. So instead of paying me the exact amount, they would reduce by half. If I am supposed to be paid 200, they would pay me 100, Bob. But I had to work because I had no other option.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
And I'm still coming back to the point of, you know, family.
Yeah.
They have seen your mother, their sister,
Yeah.
sink into depression,
Yeah.
acute depression,
Yeah.
mental disability,
Yeah.
and then finally to the point of even unfortunate incident of being raped.
Yeah.
What are they saying at this time?
Of course, she gave birth to an intersex child who, to them and their culture, that the child is cursed.
They didn't care that your mother
Not
was
really.
out in the street?
No, 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 no. It was not a bother.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So 6 years,
So-
you're being paid half pay?
Yeah. Until now, I heard the Honorable Gadhonu wa Mushamba talking about intersex children. That is how I met her. She gave me an opportunity to study.
When she's an MP or when
Before.
she was still a radio presenter?
When she was still a radio presenter.
A radio presenter.
Yeah.
How is your mother right now?
She's okay. We managed to take her to psychiatrist, but they said it's already acute and they cannot help. So, but she's good health-wise.
You've talked about church, and you also talked, you know, about Christianity, the values of Christianity,
Yeah.
and what it says, of course, you know, when it comes to the issues of transgender and intersex.
Yeah.
How was the church? Because obviously, being a member of a community, it means effectively you are also a member, you know, of a particular church or denomination. How were they taking the news that you were a different person?
I think it's it's only that at start, that is when my grandmother took me so that the priest could discern whether I'm a girl or a boy. But same priest refused to baptize me. But when I grew up, I moved from that place. So the place that I relocated, no one ever knew. I never attended any church until now. I met Gadhonwa Mushomba, who now introduced me into an Anglican church.
Oh, yeah.
And they are good members. Yeah,
I'm
they
an Anglican myself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's good to hear. The father refused to baptize you.
Yes, the priest.
Okay. That's just... Well, it's quite an interesting story and overwhelming. But of course, you can continue sending us your feedback. I see you have like about 8-10 minutes to wind up this program. And I'm thinking we can continue with this series next week, next Sunday. If we don't wind up here, if we don't cover much ground here, we can still continue with it next Sunday. And of course, now hope to bring policymakers on this set so that they can explain what they're doing. Yeah. But let me come back to you, Ryan. So you've gone to your uncle, of course. Culturally, in the Kikuyu culture, that's where you're supposed to seek consent for circumcision.
Yeah.
And they tell you it's not possible because you've grown like a girl.
Yeah.
So what happens now?
So after that, so now I'd say like, I can't force them because it's like, they are not understanding, or like, to me, I know like they are assuming because they have been talking about it when I was very young, but now they are assuming like they really don't know what I'm going through or what I'm facing. I decided now, maybe to change, but I grew up in a very strong Christian family whereby girls were not allowed to wear trousers. So I tried to change that but my grandmother refused. Like, you are a girl and we cannot allow a girl
to do trousers.
In our family. So I had no choice. I was forced to remain the way I was. But now I started seeking for more medical advice, even without telling anyone what's happening. I got to a point, I tried to get some doctors, but many doctors was not even aware of what's happening or what's going on with, because they were like saying, maybe it's not your hormone responding. Some were saying like, you can go for a surgery, you be a girl, and such kinda. But to me, I knew like I was not a girl. Because again, maybe to get back a little bit, when I realized that I was not a girl, I started interacting with girls very early age. I wanted to prove whether I'm a boy or not. So I started approaching girls when I was very young. Just wanted to prove myself whether I'm wrong or I'm not. Of course, yes.
Okay.
I had my first girlfriend when I was in class 7. I was very young, but I wanted to check whether I'm a boy.
Who knows that you have a girlfriend at this point?
No one.
You kept it a secret affair?
Of course.
Did you prove that you were a boy?
Yeah, that's when I think like it's true I'm a boy, but I don't have a room to express or to say this. I tried to hide or to pretend, but things was worsening day after the day until whether I remember one Christmas day when I was in my town center, where a certain man, I even don't want to remember the day because it was so like, I remember it was which year? I don't remember which year, but it was on a Christmas day, where my neighbor accused me. Now I can't use, like, I can't even mention some words.
Well, were they
like,
drunk?
I don't know where, I even can't tell, you know, from nowhere, you know, like, he came from nowhere and started accusing, you know, you are cursed, that's why you don't have rain in our village. What? Some things are happening because you are hermaphrodites, you don't deserve to live, you need to be killed, you know, in front of people. So to me, it was like, you know, I cried and cried that day. I remember, maybe that was the last day that I cried.
You have not cried since?
Yeah, I cried enough that day. I was with my sister and my cousin. So when I get back home, I went and locked myself on a bedroom. But my sister called my mom, like, Ruth is crying. Why? A certain man amemtusi, amemwambia hivi na hivi. But my mom tried to talk to me, but I was not even comfortable to talk. Although my mom went over a step of even going to the chief earlier, because I don't even know.
Is the man alive today?
No.
He died?
Yeah. Okay. A few years later. I wish he was still alive and witness me today and see me today, but unfortunately he died. But it was like he was opening a door for a group of people now.
Let me quickly rush you a bit so that we can leave the story at some conclusive stage so that we can continue with it next week.
Yeah.
Is there a point you ran away from home?
Yep.
When is that?
After that, because like how I wanted to say, like, it's like he opened a door for now for everyone to know.
Yeah.
Now people started arranging, like they want to undress me and maybe check what's there. Maybe like even group of young men succeeded to undress me again, and they started now saying like, what they do, they're organizing for a day. Maybe they can organize me and take me around the town so that everyone can see it's true, I'm not. Now I learn from home, you know, I can just wait and hold all that.
And where did you run to?
Like I remember in some point I was staying like a street child, like I have no place to stay. I don't have anyone to talk to. But my aunt looked for me and talked to me and said like, you can come to my house, maybe you can talk and try to sort some things out and try to ask him what's happening. But again I was like, why do we have to explain of which you know what I'm going through? Yeah. I stayed like a year with no place to stay, with like a street child. I can just go to this town, later to this town, later to this town, like shifting here and there. But after that, my aunt succeeded to talk to me, and I get back to her house.
After a year in the streets,
yeah,
you went back home.
Yeah.
Through the convincing of your aunt.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to pick up the story next Sunday. But you, James.
Yes.
Seeing the struggles, you know, because we'll take up from, you know, the Gathoni wa Mushamba perspective now, you know, taking you up and, you know, helping you to pursue your, you know, education.
Yeah.
What would be your word to people out there who still remain ignorant up to today about the same thing?
I think for me, and I've always said that, you know, being ignorant is not bad, but the problem is when people tend to make it career, because it is dangerous to other people.
Make it a career?
Yes. For example, you do not want to have a rationale toward people who are out there and they're saying something different to what you believe in. The idea of trying to condition that it is either male or female, it's what has brought a lot of prejudice to the intersex persons. And what I always say is that at least people need to understand that it doesn't have to be black, it doesn't have to be white. Sometimes we have an in-between. And the best and the most important thing is to understand that all of us are human beings and we should respect each other and live with dignity.
What are the most callous accusations you've had in your life?
I think none. It's only that people tend to call you who you are, and when people like tell you you're hermaphrodite, you know.
Have you ever been accused of being gay?
Not really, not
never
at all. Until, but only that time I was in high school that teachers could not discern and tell me that I was a lesbian.
And of course they discovered this. Have you ever been labeled gay yourself?
Only being accused for lesbian. The time I remember there was a time I approached a girl, and that got to a point of telling her brother, and they accused me for being a lesbian.
Okay. Both of you have very important stories that can shape the conversation in this country, particularly when it comes to intersex people. And we hope to continue with this conversation on Sunday. So we'll be here at the same time, and we continue with this conversation. This time around, we can get Honorable Maura to have a sitting, or Gathoni wa Mushomba, and perhaps a counseling psychologist or a doctor for that matter, to come and tell us what is this confusion when you brought a baby and you can't tell, you know, what is happening in between there. But thank you very much, James and Ryan, for speaking to us tonight, and hope to see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
That's all for Family Matters. Thank you very much for your feedback. It's a lot of it. I'm not able to check it, but look, we have another 45 minutes or about 50 next Sunday. We can always respond to the feedback that you have. So in the course of this week, you can continue, asking your questions as well as your concerns. We'll respond to them. And of course, the program will be uploaded on YouTube. So again, you can also check it out there if you didn't catch up with the whole conversation and get to see the stories, inspiring stories of Ryan and James. From me, it's a good night. Thanks to everybody who made this a success. And like I said, there's not a better comeback for Family Matters like this one has been. Good night.